All right, welcome to the Commonwealth Club World Affairs in California. I'm Michelle Miao, a member of the Board of Governors, and also have a program here at the club called The Michelle Miao Show, year A through Z, covering the LGBT, LMNOP, and everyone in between. Sabai Pi Mai, Happy New Year, Happy Song. Okay, without further ado, we have someone very special here who's going to do welcome remarks. She is the commissioner of the San Francisco Airport and also the chair of the San Francisco Democratic Party here in San Francisco. So let's welcome Chair Nancy Tung.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Welcome, everyone. I'm so lucky to be in partnership with Michelle on a lot of programming that we've done with the party and the Commonwealth Club. So when she asked me to make some introductory remarks today, I was just so excited to be here. It is my first time celebrating Songkran, so I'm excited to see all of the performances and hear from people tonight from the Southeast Asian community and the Lao community. So the topic for the panel is really about defining the American experience for immigrants. And I'm a daughter of immigrants, and I remember when my father, who was very interested in politics and lived his whole life under martial law in another country, when he immigrated to the US and became a United States citizen, he felt like it empowered him to have a voice back into his home country. So I remember there was this one time when I was 12, and my dad was getting ready to go back to Taiwan, and he held his American passport in his hand, and he said, I am going to march in a pro-democracy parade in my hometown, and I am going to have my American passport in my hand, because he felt like that was a shield for him. It offered protection. But now we're in a state where our political system is not protecting everyone anymore. And the immigrant experience is very different for people. And so as we hear from our panel today, it's something that is very interesting to me, and especially as somebody who is involved in politics. How is the current policy shaping the decisions of people who have immigrated to the United States, whether because of their parents or of their own volition? How is it changing the experience for immigrants? And what do we need to do to make that different and better again? So with that, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Michelle. And thank you all so much for being here, and enjoy the show.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you for your leadership. Okay, who's ready to have some fun? Yes? Yes? I guess I'm so nervous. You know, usually I'm up here on the stage and I have these deep conversations. We are going to have a very deep conversation later today. Who's here for our wonderful speakers? Yes? Sampan, Sandra, and Co. Yes, give them a hand. We also have some venerable monks who are here with us from Wat Budara Peep. I probably said that very incorrectly here in San Francisco. And so if you notice, we do have, for our tradition, you water the statue, the Buddha statue. So that's right outside the door. You can do that and make your prayers and blessings. The monks will do their blessings at the end of the program, so stick around for that. And there'll be a bachi ceremony for those of you who would like the blessing. What else? Well, my parents are here. Yeah, my mom and my dad, and also my sister and my nephew Toshi, and my brother-in-law. Hi, Luke. And yeah, it's a family affair. And so our first performance for this evening actually is someone very special to me. I see her every single day, and she's just such a wonderful light to so many of us in the community. She's from Udon Thani and has been singing since the tender age of 12. Let's welcome Dukta and Malam San Francisco.
รอและสาวลำตะคองยังคอยอายรถก็อายทางกังกบซอลาพี่ชายเอ่ยเคยกินข้าวห่วมน้องมองทิวน้ำอยู่ฝั่งทางละอายป้าให้หักข้างสร้างบ่แน่แทนนอคนสร้างบ่สนสิแนมนำปังลำตะควงจอยน้องเมื่อคอยอยู่เด้ออายสาวลำตะคองยังคอยผู้บ่าวตาหวานขับรถผ่านยังเคยแวะทานข้าวปลาพออิ่มแล้วให้เลยโบกมืออำลานานแล้วที่ไอ้บ่มาไปน้องถ่ายอยู่ลำตะคองคันแล้วคันเล่าก็บ่เห็นเงาไอ้มาน้องยังตั้งตาห่วงใยใจลอยคอยมองคืนทั้งวันวิ่งส่วนการรถทัวร์รถน้องแต่อายคนที่ใจมองไปลำตะคองเงียบเหงาเช้าแลหรือใช่แกล้งลืมทางเคยแวะหรือใช่แกล้งลืมทางเคยแวะรถอาหารแซ่บแท้ที่เคยย่องวันหัวตัวจ่อพ่อยแต่ของทางตัวจ่อพ่อยแต่ของทางเนื้อเขามันจางอยู่ฝั่งทางคอยจองมองใส่น้ำลำตะคองแดดอ่อนพี่ชายเอ้ยลืมมันเคยอดอ่อนแล้วบ่อายหาเขาเรานัดกันวันจันทร์ก็บ่เห็นมาเยี่ยมชายคาถามข่าวสาวลำตะคองคิดฮอดอายได้แต่ชะแงคอยมองสงสารสาวลำตะคองให้หักมาไล่มาจอดใจมันเคยอาหารหวานข้าวน้องก็เตรียมไว้ให้รอเหนื่อยก็พอมีที่พักพิงพี่เอ๋ยอายทำเป็นเช่นคนไม่คุ้นไม่เคยหรือมีสาวคอยก็เกยเอาไว้แนบบอกจึงบอกมาทำข้าวเลยไปสาวลำตะคองคอยอายแรงๆน้ำรถเองเลยตามมาย่อยๆลงล้ออายผู้เดียวรถและเลี้ยวมาจอดพักคุยกันเบิ่งจุจีวันมันแต่นางบ่มีอายได้แต่แนมนอทางอายจวดกันต่อนะคะเนาะกับ2 นาทีก็มีแห้งค่ะขอบพระคุณค่ะนมัสการนะคะมื้อนี้ขออนุญาตล่ำให้พระอาจารย์ฟังต้องขอบพระคุณมาลัยน้ำใจนะคะ จากนามาท่านผู้มีเกียรติ อยากกอดอ้ายจาก2 นาที อยากกอดแค่เนี้ยเพราะอ้ายคนมีเจ้าของลอยมาให้กอดหน่อยนะพ่อหนุ่มเนื้อทองถึงบ่ได้มากลองก็มากอดน้องจาก2 นาทีกอดโดนน้องทั้งคนเห็นเพราะน้องมันเป็นคนมาทีหลังของพี่ถึงมีเมียแล้วน้องก็ยังหาด้วยความพักดี อยากกอดจัก2 นาทีได้กอดแค่นี้ดีใจอย่างแหงแบ่งเวลามาหาน้องบ้างบ่ต้องมาค้างเห็นหน้าน้องก็มีแหงลอยมักของเพิ่นต้องโตกระเทินย้อนพายมีตั้งถึงน้องฮักอายอย่างแหงแต่น้องบอกลายังสามีใครอยากกอดอายจัก2 นาทีอยากกอดแค่เนี้ยอายมีเวลาบ้างไหมท่านใดกอดพี่แค่2 นาทีก็มีแห่งใจลอยมาให้กอดได้ไหมน้องอยากกอดอายจัก2 นาทีแบ่งเวลามาหาน้องบ้างบ่ต้องมาค้างเห็นหน้าน้องก็มีแหงลอยมาของเพิ่นต้องโตกระเทินย้อนพายมีตั้งถึงน้องฮักอายอย่างแหงแต่น้องบอกลายังสามีใครอยากกอดอายจัก2 นาทีอยากกอดแค่เนี้ยอายมีเวลาบ้างไหมท่านใดกอดพี่แค่2 นาทีก็มีแห่งใจลอยมาให้กอดได้ไหมน้องอยากกอดอายจัก2 นาทีลอยมาให้กอดได้ไหมน้องอยากกอดอายจัก2-3 ทีนี่แหละนะเขาว่าหนาวมากท่านผู้มีเกียรติก็ได้ ทำงานเป็นทีมเนาะค่ะเนาะขอบคุณค่ะกับผลงานเนาะ2 นาทีก็มีแหงนะคะที่ให้เพื่อนให้พ่อแม่พี่น้องฮู้จักน้องตุ๊กตานะคะ แล้วก็มื้อนี้นะคะมาพร้อมแบนด์เดี๋ยวจะขออนุญาตแนะนำชื่อก่อนนะคะนี่นะคะนักดนตรีท่านนี้นะคะคืออาจารย์ท่านผู้มีเกียรติ อันนี้ท่านอาจารย์หนุ่ยนะคะขอเสียงปรบมือให้หน่อยนะคะหมอแค้นนะนี่ LD ที่สุดนะคะพี่แทนค่ะพินหวานนะคะทางนั้นพี่3ค่ะกับผลงานเพลงสุดท้ายนะคะพึ่งปล่อยไปนะคะเพื่อที่ซัพพอร์ตนะคะสมรสเท่าเทียมเนาะแค่หยังเฮาฮักกันค่ะโอ้มีหอดพวงมาลัยนักดนตรีด้วยเหตุผลใดรู้แต่ว่าใจมันให้เธอหมดแล้วก้าวข้ามเงื่อนไขบ่ปิดกันจักแนวได้หักแล้วบ่อยากไปใส่ใกล้ตาแค่ยังนับภาษาคำคนเว้าท่วงคือเขาเว้าต่างๆนานาเรื่องเฮาสอบคนแล้วแต่ไผสว่าเราสำคัญกว่าอย่าสนสายตาใครมองเอาก่อนยี่หล่ะก่อนไปที่ยังพ้องเก็บในใจก้าวผ่านที่ยังพ้องประคองกันก้าวผ่านพวกคือด่านคนมีทั่วทุกด้านของหามใบบ่ฟังใจต่อตั้งมีแต่หากเข้าสองใครสิมองน่าได้อย่าสนใจเลยเจ้ารักของสองเราอย่าเอาของเขาใส่ใจรักก็คือรักไงแม้ใครจะมองต่างๆนานาเลื่อนเหตุของผิดวัฒนธรรมเพิ่นว่าช่างเขาเถื่อนนะความรักนั้นมาจากใจกับเหตุในเราก็คนเหมือนกันจะแบ่งชนชั้นกันไปทำไมหมดยุคสมัยจะปิดกันและได้เรื่องใจไม่ต้องอายเรารักกันฉันพร้อมยืน อนุญาตนะคะต่อไปนี้เฮาก็สิย้ายเครื่องดนตรีเนาะแล้วก็จะเข้าสู่อันนี้ก็คือแผนกนะคะเฮ็ดทุกอย่าง โอเคข้าวดีนะคะมาแล้วเนาะบาร์เปิดแล้วนะคะ เดินไปนะคะสั่งได้นะคะมีทุกอย่างนะคะทั้งน้ำซ่าน้ำแก้มแดงนะคะแล้วก็น้ำสำหรับเด็กๆนะคะยืนเดินไปที่บาร์นะคะแล้วก็บอกน้องคนสวยคนนั้นนะคะ บอกคนผู้งามว่าข่อยอยากได้อันนี้อันนั้นมื้อนี้เฮามีหยังแน่มื้อนี้มีหลายอันหลายอย่างมีเบียร์นะคะมีไวน์แล้วก็มีสไปซ์น้ำแดงน้ำโค้กนะคะเนาะแล้วเดี๋ยวอีกสักหน่อยนะคะอาหารจะขึ้นมาด้วยนะคะกินดื่มได้ตามสบายนะคะแล้วก็ห้องน้ำอยู่ข้างหลังนะคะอยู่ตรงกลางเด้อห้องน้ำเด้อพี่น้องเด้อยางสอดออกไปก็สิมีห้องน้ำนะคะตรงกลางหน้าลิฟต์เนาะ4 เย้
Let's give another round of applause ตบมือfor ตุ๊กตา and หมอลำ Essa All right. The next part of our program is going to be our fireside conversation. Very, I would say, an intense topic for our community. And although, we are hoping and wishing each other a new year, I think for most of us, what we want for each other is also protection, safety, and dignity. And so tonight we'll talk about the immigration policies, the current immigration policies, I should say, and how it impacts our Southeast Asian community. And so I think we're all set up. Let's bring our speakers up to the stage. Give a warm welcome for Sandra, Ko, and Sampon. Okay, let's get started and have you all each introduce yourselves. And I think it's appropriate to share your migration journey, your family's migration journey here to the United States. I think we'll start with Sampon.
Hi, so I'm Sampon Luonkong. I'm an attorney at law here in San Francisco, but also I am a refugee immigrant. My father and my family came to the United States in 1978. My father was an American military advisor during the Vietnam War and had to leave Laos to come to the United States because of the socialist takeover of the Lao government. And in the process, I was born in Thailand, in the process of coming to the United States. And so I am a refugee, not even born in the United States. But fortunately, I had opportunities to learn and grow up in a very strong community in Stockton, California. So it gave me the opportunity to go to college, to go to law school, but not all of the community members were so fortunate. So, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Thank you, Sampon. Sandra.
Hi, my name is Sandra. I am pretty much born and raised in San Francisco. My mom and my dad they're the refugees from Laos. And here I am. I don't know, is there anything else that I need to?
Whatever you'd like to share, yeah.
So my dad is actually from Udon Thani. No, I'm sorry, in Nong Khai, right, ba? Yeah, he's from Nong Khai, and my mom's from Pak Se in Laos. And so growing up in San Francisco, I always thought I was Chinese. And so I kind of, blended in and I spoke Chinese with my mom. And here I am in San Francisco. Sorry, I'm so nervous. This is lots of lights, guys.
Yeah. We can take a moment. Yeah, let's give her a big round of applause. Take a moment to pause. By the way, Dan, it'd be if we could change the graphic too, just because we're taping this for broadcast. And if anybody's back there that's near my cell phone next to Dan, if you wouldn't mind bringing that to me, that would be great. Just for time purposes. Okay, so Ko, yeah, your migration story, but fully introduce yourself.
I'm Ko. I guess just like the rest, not the rest, but I came when I was 3 years old to America. And basically I call myself an American. Other people don't, but I do. So, well, that's about it. And I'm here to share my story, but I wouldn't know where to start. So I'll let Michelle ask the questions.
It's funny because that is the next question. Ko, we're here for you tonight, and you brought us all here, to be honest with you. Your story, I've been following both you and Sandra and your social media. You've been so, honestly, it's breathtaking to witness your honesty about everything that's happened. So why don't we start with you sharing your story? I mean, how did we get here today?
So I guess I should just speed toward my story. First came in when I was 3 years old as an immigrant. Seven kids from my family, and we came just like everybody else in the it's 1980, and then moved on, and then I grew up. As just like anybody else. I went to preschool. I went to kindergarten. I was playing tag, four square, tetherball, if those who know what that is. And then, just like any other American kid, I wanted more, and I didn't have the nice shoes, I didn't have the nice clothes, and of course, a refugee family, a family of 7, so you kind of like, okay, you're the 6th child, so you're not gonna get no new ones, you're gonna get one for your brother and your other brother. So, long story short, I turned to street life. I turned to, I'm gonna get my own stuff. Because believe it or not, when we were growing up in elementary or junior high, we were getting picked on, and we didn't have the best clothes. We didn't speak English that well. And so we were called FOB, considered fob. So we were always getting teased by our accent or what we ate, especially Laos. Man, I didn't even want to invite my Hispanic or black or white friends over because of the padek. But I love to eat that. So I didn't want to invite them over because it is funny. It's like, wow, man, what are you guys cooking here? You know what I mean? So I was kind of like embarrassed of that. Embarrassed the padek, embarrassed the, shrimp paste and stuff. But yet, I love the food, so I said, well, I'll take the food over my friends, so I won't invite them over for dinner. So that's how it ended. And then I grew up. Then I got in trouble, of course, that's when I was a kid because, I was a kid trying to make an adult decision. So that's how, that was not a good combination. An uneducated person that's trying to make adult decision at the age of 13. But I tried. And of course it didn't turn out well, right? I wanted a car when I was 14. So I was like, how's a 14-year-old kid gonna get a car? Well, we found out a way. I was very smart, but not in conventional sense.
You just made a bad decision with the intellect that you
Yes, I knew I was a smart guy, but I had a bad direction to go with. Like I could have been going to college, became a doctor somewhere, and believe it or not, I had a scholarship to be a computer scientist. So, but I was already too far into that world already. And so I got in trouble. I got arrested when I was a teenager, and I went to the American system. So, but when I went there, it was very awakening because I was no different. I was no different from 100% of my peers in there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, that's okay.
And just for clarifying for all of us who are here and who are watching online, English may be a second language. Being in trouble in the American system, we're referring to incarceration.
Yes.
And we can speak a little Laolish too up here too. I don't know if you can speak Lao at all.
We'll speak Laolish.
Yeah.
สบายดีปีใหม่
but yeah, so getting in trouble.
So I got in trouble when I was a kid. So ขน้อยเจ็กโทษตอนน้อยเพิ่นเพราะว่าอยากเป็นผู้ใหญ่เด้เด็กน้อยอยากเป็นผู้ใหญ่ so เจ็กโทษไว้ so เกิดไปแล้วก็ when I got older, now I wanted bigger things, I guess. If like American society, I wanted to integrate myself. I want to assimilate. But of course, with my background, my friends, my education, that was a hard assimilation. But I always loved books, though. So that was one thing I really liked. And so I got older, I got incarcerated, and I made more bad decisions. Then I got incarcerated again as an adult now. So as an adult, I got incarcerated, which คนน้อยเข้าคุกแต่น้อยหาใหญ่ So I grew up.
We're talking like, do you mind sharing like how long that period was?
So I grew up in prison in the American prison system longer than I've been in society. So that means 40 years of my life, or 20 plus years in prison, which is, then I got out when I was 40. So that would be, but I was not defeated. I was not like, oh, I'm in prison, poor me. You know, I was like, oh, I was in prison. I got pretty lucky. Now I get to be a kid again out here, but the right way. You know, I get to go to college at 40. I get to learn how to drive a car at 42. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Because now I'm making good adult decisions as an adult. And
He's not a good driver, though.
You're still not a good driver.
But yeah, that's the gist of my story, and I guess.
Yeah, we'll fast forward to your current status, but I do want to take a moment and give us a chance here, and we know we have our community here with us, and express just. You had used the word that you made bad decisions, and I felt a little bit of shame in that. Sure, we all make mistakes, but I want to say that it was very hard to grow up, even as a second generation Lao American, and growing up, poor, and also helping your parents understand this new country that they're in. Our life is very hard. Sampon, do you want to add to any of that? Like growing up as a Lao American.
I believe that as a female, as a girl growing up, we had a lot of advantage, more easily blending into the community. Teachers were kinder to us. And I saw my friends that I ran around in the playground with, not treated as well, and having to prove their manhood in some way. And I saw young men get in trouble. And I was joking with you before that I was actually invited to join a gang in middle school, but that was the norm. It was sort of like, which one? It wasn't a question. It was which one? And I was like, no, I'm probably going to join the science Olympiad team or math team. But
Anything to add, Sandra, growing up as a Lao American?
Yeah, pretty much I'm born and raised in San Francisco. I pretty much didn't really fit in a lot of places because in my family, in our household, we spoke Mandarin, Cantonese, Thai, and Lao, and so sometimes in English, right? So sometimes we just speak one sentence, different, vocabulary words. And I was born and raised in San Francisco, and so I was speaking that, in elementary school, and then they put me in the ESL because they were like, oh, this person does, she can't speak English, right? So I was in ESL for a long time. Until they realized that, oh, wait, she understands. I'm like, well, this is the vocabulary that I know.
I have the same story being put in ESL or forced into it because they didn't think I was English. But I do want to say, I grew up in Stockton too, so I feel like we're all Penang here, and Penang mean family, cousins. And I want to acknowledge my mom's here. She raised 5 young kids on her own. My dad died shortly after they migrated here from Laos. I have no idea how she did it. I remember growing up in the projects, and I remember, the gangs who kind of raised each other in this way. Like we had to almost trust that whatever was going to happen, we weren't going to get jumped or get jumped in, and focus on our studies. My mom was so strict to make sure that we went to school. But I do want to say, for young Southeast Asian boys particularly, the streets were not very kind for you to acclimate, to have that dream of, oh, I'm going to go to college. So I just want to acknowledge that for you. Like, I don't think that you came to the country and it's like, woohoo, all this money's flowing and life is great. Life was very hard for us.
So I have an older brother, and so I think he actually got a lot of that as well. And, San Francisco, they had a lot of gangs as well, so he kind of like swung towards the Chinese gangs or triads in Chinatown, things like that. So, and I feel like, he got jumped several times, and I'm just there by myself, while and there's nothing I can do in that case where I'm like, okay, what's safe, right? And so he was like, okay, well, I have to be part of a group of a street family, I guess you can call it, so that they can protect each other from that. So I think every single city has their group of troubled, individuals that they just need a family outside of their own family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
And support. So going back to Co's story and being incarcerated for a good number of your adolescence and then into your adult life, and then being released from prison. So for our Lao speaker, so Au Kuk Lao. And then what did the United States or the country do to your status? So you're a green card holder prior to that.
So I got out of prison. Once I got out of prison, I did not know that they could revoke my immigration status, or because when you're a teenager or a kid going through prison or whatever, you're not worried about, well, we never, because we're kind of like consider ourselves American. We came when we were 7 months, 3 years old. So of course, no one educated on us on our immigration status. So we totally don't comprehend what that is. So when I went to prison, I took a deal, and just like most people who goes through my shoe, they take a deal because they committed the crime. I committed the crime. I accepted. I'm going to take my consequences. And then they said, okay, you will go to prison for 27 years or so. And it's like, okay, I'll take that deal because I did what I did. And of course, that wasn't, but the system's a system. And so from my ignorance of the law, and from my solid belief that I was American, I took the deal, I took my consequences, and I'm just saying I'm going to move on with this, and we're going to do whatever and come out and live life if we come out, but it doesn't really matter because we're living life anyways. So long story short, and then of course, once I got out of prison, you go through INS, which is the detention center, which is ICE. And so they said, okay, cool. You know what? Laos is not accepting nobody and stuff, so our government's not working with each other. So just sign this piece of paper here, and then you're going to get out of jail. If you don't get out of jail. So I was like, oh, okay. And so that's what was the advice of most Laos men that goes to, so they get, I guess, tricked because they'll be like, oh, just sign this piece of paper here and you're not going to get deported because our government would never work with each other. So, and here I am today. And so I'm going to get deported eventually somehow, some way. But I'm not here to oh, help me or, I'm getting deported. I just the reason why I decided to do this show is because I want people who do have this experience or who knows people or are related to people who have this experience to not be afraid to live life. Literally, unless the law change, unless it's, and I still consider myself American, so unless the law change without violence, without, with proper procedure, you follow the procedure, and whatever procedure set forth to you, you use that as much as you can, and if it doesn't work, then you're an American. And this is what makes us American, because we're going to follow the rules and laws of whatever's written for us, even though we disagree. Because if we don't follow the rules and laws of this country or any country, then we will be like those countries we don't want to be in. Like, you know what? I'm just going to pick up arms. So this is the reason why this country, to me, I still believe today is a great country. Because it's not the government, or it's the people. Look around us. This country allows us to dance in our uniform and in our culture and our tradition. This country allows us to practice our religion. So I think this place is, I'm getting emotional.
I got you, brother. I will be there, in Laos to visit you.
But it might not happen.
It might not happen.
This country sways a lot.
And thank you for saying that. So we're going to swing the question back to Sampon. Now, explain to us basically his current status. And go ahead.
So Go has had, as of September 2017, a deportation order. And since 2018, he's been checking in at the San Francisco Immigration Office consistently. So as a result, he's not in danger, we hope, of being picked up. No one's called him in, and he hasn't committed any crimes. The last he went, he had his annual check-in in December. Now, the situation is Laos for a long time did not have a repatriation agreement with the United States. However, sometime around March of last year, the present administration put pressure on Laos, a combination of factors which I don't want to go into, but started deporting. There are about 4,800 people slated to go back to Laos. This includes different ethnic groups, Lao, Hmong, Mien, and other groups. Some of them don't speak a word of Lao. And so far, approximately 400 people have been removed. The process, because Go was due to check in December, sort of slowed down. They gave him 3 months, and then they gave him another 3 months. I heard as of Friday, someone was given 6 months in San Francisco. There's a couple of factors that come into play. It could possibly be, and this is all theory, I'm not sure, but rumor has it, the Laos side is having a hard time processing all these people going back. They want to make sure everyone's sponsored. The process is you get there and everyone should have a sponsor before they can just, it's not as dire because you're there and you do have a path to citizenship, to Lao citizenship. After a year, you can apply you get a temporary status in Laos, and then you can apply for Lao citizenship. And with Lao citizenship, you have a Lao passport and you can travel, just not necessarily back to the United States. So there's some hope. But also along the lines of change of the law, nonprofit groups have put forth a bill in Congress through the House of Representatives. It's working its way through to maybe cancel the deportation of Southeast Asian refugees. This is all pending, and it also requires ultimately to pass Congress, both houses of Congress, and then the president has to sign off. So it's a, as you know, a challenge. So there are things happening, maybe not in this administration, but maybe a future administration. So we hope to stay on top of these rules and laws and changes so that if we can't benefit Go, then we can benefit other people, and that's the goal.
Sandra, tell us, your why. Why did you make the decision to join Co? If he leaves back to Laos?
Well, first thing is, why did I marry this guy, right? Knowing that he actually has all this backpack luggage and stuff like that I'm like, I don't know, can't recycle that, but I feel like, you know what? We're at that point where I feel like there's a connection that I can't specify where it's like, is it emotional? Is it physical? I don't know. It's just something that I feel like, you know what? This guy, yeah, it's like a ride or die kind of scenario where it's like, it's like, we connect, and I feel like, yeah, so if he were to go to Laos, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go to Laos. Laos is much affordable. It could be an early retirement. My friends out in the crowd can come visit us, Villa La Sandra, I don't know.
Villa La Sandra?
De Sandra, right? I think he speaks French there, right? So, yeah. de Sandra, like that. So I feel like why not, right? Live life to the fullest. I mean, people make mistakes. We're all human. And I feel like, you know what? Instead of, it's like, I feel like there's so much more to like fight than to just enjoy, because we're at this point where it's like, we started a little hobby farm. It's called Sandra's Hobby Farm. So we wanted to really retire in not in San Francisco, but in the United States, in California. But then we kind of totally forgot that. I was like, hey, wait a minute, remember that? I was like, oh, that's right, check-in time. So it's the anxiety of, but I feel like now it's like, you know what? No need to just, I guess you could say, find Zen in your heart and then say, you know what, don't let that bother us. And so we're just gonna like go with the flow. I mean, I think it's like his friends are like, what, $50 a day? I mean, $50 a month for rent. I'm like, I can totally, vouch
take care of my
man.
man.
Like, hey guys, friends out there, $1 a day saves Go out of like, I don't like, those infomercial things, how they do it. Yeah, I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, hey, come visit us. Come hang out with us, things like that, So why not, right? And then I can go to Vietnam, go to Thailand, go to maybe Canada, Mexico, things like that. Because I feel like, why not? Because the whole process of actually getting back his green card, the whole process of actually having him become citizen is going to be like at least years and maybe not even guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to throw all that. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't we both made that decision? So it's kind of like, you know what? Let's just go back to Laos, and then at least once you get hopefully a passport of some type, then we can actually enjoy life. Because life is too short. Once you hit a certain age, life is gonna go. I was like, what just happened? You know?
Well, Deco, he just started driving, so it's just beginning.
Yeah, you know what? He drives faster than certain people that I know.
Yeah. We have just a few minutes left of the fireside chat portion, but I do want to give you a chance to ask our speakers any questions if you have them. Raise your hand if you have a question for any of our speaker. I ask that if you do have a question, just one question to one speaker. I'll come around with a mic. Anybody? Yeah, we got a question here, right in the middle.
Hello, my name is Michael. I do know these two individuals. My question to you both is, I don't know if you know this, but like, how does it feel like to be an inspiration? I myself went away for 33 years. And when I got out, I got to meet you guys. And you guys always inspired me to, you know, look beyond, get past your everything. And I just want to know, how does it feel? I mean, do you guys really understand that you guys are an inspiration?
I'm, oh my God, you're getting me emotional, Michael. My makeup was gonna fall off, everything, my lashes. Pff. Okay, I didn't really think I was gonna be inspirational like that. I feel like you guys are inspirational. You guys are here. I mean, we're all here. The universe brings us together for a certain reason. And I feel like, you know, we cannot inspire each other unless, you know, we know what love is.
Yeah.
I don't try to inspire people. I just want to live my life, but I do always remind my wife, we're not going to inspire the world. We're not going to change the world. We're just going to live our inspiring life.
Right.
And whatever I do, you know, sometimes it's like, just want to live an inspiring life. You don't have to inspire anything. Just live a life where you say, well, this is fun, or, well, I'm not going to do that again. You know what I mean? Right? So, and I just want a quick 20 seconds, because I see the young ladies here, and they're very pretty. And I just wanted to remind you, young ladies, that remember that you guys are American too. So be proud of who you are, but also be proud of your heritage and your culture. But don't forget, you're part of this country, so don't be afraid to be a part of this country.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like that was a mic drop moment.
Yeah.
I had two closing questions for all of you, but really it's about looking to the future. So, Sandra, what does the future look like for you?
Lots of vacations, I think. Lots of, we're just gonna pretty much document. We've been just going on social media and just documenting our lives together and just trying to, just be. It's our, I guess you can say it's our virtual photo album that we can share with all our friends around the world. And it's just, not being inspirational. It's more like, hey, you know what? Thanks for enjoying time with us, because we only meet each other once in this generation, right? I mean, I could have been born in like the 1900s, but I was born here with you guys.
That's beautiful. Oh, we have a question from the audience.
Well, actually, I want to say something. You know, after listening to your story, it's very touching, and I think that everything happened for a reason. I think you guys must have a lot of love for each other, for you to back up your husband and also supporting him. And I think God has a purpose for you. When you go back to Laos, first of all, you're educated, you know the life in America. So there's a lot of Lao people that I know, like, they grew up here. All they know is America. They don't know Laos. They don't even speak Laos, some of them. I think you're gonna be a good leader and so inspirational for the Lao people who got sent back. And plus, you have a good family and good community. I think you have a backbone where you're gonna go over there. God's gonna use you to do something good for the Lao people, the Lao American that was sent back to Laos. I think that He has a mission for you. So whatever you're doing, probably it's the right decision. That's, God will lead you. And I pray that, God will bless you also. Yes.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Absolutely. It is your purpose. It's our, Sampo, one last question for you, and that is for our broader community who may be going through, fear. or uncertainty and who may be in the same position. Any closing words or some things to keep in mind?
Well, if you don't know your status, I think most people know their deportation status, but there are some people who are unsure if they're minor crimes or major crimes. There's ways to look it up. We do have a page called on Facebook, Lao Deportation Issues, where I provide links. If you can go on the page or you could just ask me, so you can find out if you're actually going to be deported. Some people did not commit a felony and are afraid. And then there are people who are in the process of the same that Go is going through. And my advice to everyone is just to stay on top of these deadlines and know what your rights are. But for people who have, just like Go, have decided it's time to go back, it's time, I highly encourage you to learn to read and write Lao, because you will make such a valuable contribution to Southeast Asia. And I can't, I just think it'll be amazing. And this is partly because I volunteer with the Center for Lao Studies. So if you need books, we'll help you. But yeah, learn to read Lao and empower yourself and become a hero in Laos. Yeah.
Okay, truly the last question, and it's for all of us, but what, maybe one thing that you can leave us with as far as a hope or a wish, because it is Be My, and that's what we do. We offer each other good wishes and blessings. So I'll start with Sampon again, come down. So Ko, you get the last word.
Again, I volunteer for the Center for Lao Studies, so I wish you for everyone to continue learning, continue growing, have a growth mindset. There's always something new to learn, and keep an open mind.
I guess I would love for you guys to, I want to be shameless, tag, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, especially YouTube. Okay, so, 9, Sangsfoot 9, that's us. So if you enjoy our energy, please, feel free to follow us. And always smile from the heart, even though you're sad, and, just find that light and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Wow. So, thank you. Oh, thank you. I was speaking last a little bit for all my
keep
father. ขอบใจด้วยพ่อแม่พี่น้องเพราะว่าขน้อยดีใจได้เห็นหน้าและขอบใจด้วยอาจารย์ and then so สบายโชคดีปีใหม่เบิดทุกคน and so for my American partners here well thanks for dancing, and thanks for having the discipline to do it, because that's not easy. I have sister who tried it when they came to America, and they just no more. They're like, no, Mom, we're in America. I'm going to high school, and I'm not putting this on no more. And so, and thank you for letting me, see that you guys are carrying on the American culture and expressing your heritage. And this is America right here.
Oh. And what my mom would say, wish you lui lui hang hang. Thank you. One big, huge round of applause for Ko, Sandra, and Sampon. Just to remind you, our reception is here in the auditorium, and so we're already starting to serve some drinks. If you need something cold to drink, it's right behind you. We're starting to fill the room up with food. So if you're hungry, grab some food once we're ready to serve. We just want you to have a really good time. And that brings us to a very exciting segment of our program. I almost want to just say I should just invite Teacher Chumali up here to introduce our special dancers. And the reason why is because she's so dedicated, and just looking at her art and her work and her teachings and everything. She's a true treasured talent in our community who's dedicated, I think, a long, long, long time for our youths. So Teacher Chumali, would you like to come up?
This first dance, girls, you want to come up? Oh yeah, our group dance name is Natasin Lao Lan Sang. Natasin means a form of Lao dance. Lao means Lao people. Lan Sang is actually the era. Our country used to be called Anajak Lan Sang, which is the land of the million elephant with the three-headed flag elephant. Okay, the first song we're gonna dance is called Jampa Muang Lao. We're called Jampa Muang Lao is because Laos has a land of all plumeras over Laos. So this is our national flower. And we're gonna embrace by dancing this song, showing you the beautiful dance that these girls are doing. Okay? Huh?